Hello, I am Yuki Hayashi of FREE THE TONE. Today, I am very happy and excited to be talking to one of the greatest guitar techs in the world, Mr. Rick Wheeler. Although Rick is well known as a top-notch guitar tech, his skills go way beyond that and include road manager, front of house mixer, recording engineer, and jazz guitarist. Based on his vast experience and extensive knowledge, there is no one more qualified to get a band to a gig, set up on stage, and sounding their best. Mr. Rick Wheeler.
Yuki-san, it's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you for coming.
You are welcome.
Hello, Rick. First of all, can you tell us a little about yourself?
Sure. I, of course, was born in the United States, and I went to college and studied music. I was playing guitar for many years before I went to college. My mother bought me a guitar when I was 10 years old, and it was a good guitar.
Yeah.
And I still own that guitar. But I studied music in college, and I also studied other things, like sound engineering and guitar care and guitar tech work while I was in college. And then when I graduated from college, I went on to get a teaching certificate, and I became a teacher. After I became a teacher for a while, like around 20 years or so, I was given the opportunity to go on tour with some great artists. And so I thought, I'll give it a try. And I went to start touring with some really fine artists. And I never went back to teaching. And I miss my students, but I really enjoy what I do today, which is a variety of things related to the music business. I'm a very fortunate person.
Okay. Can I ask something?
Sure.
Okay. How did you go from being a school teacher to being a guitar tech?
It was an unusual circumstance. In about the mid-90s, I had moved to Nashville with my wife, who's a very well-known jazz singer, and she was working often in Nashville. So we moved to Nashville, and I got a teaching job in Nashville. And one of the things that my school did was bring in great artists to talk to the students. And one of those artists happened to be Larry Carlton. And so I became friends with Larry, and he knew I was a guitar player and was a guitar teacher. And so he invited me to his house, and we became friends. And one day he asked me if I would like to substitute for his guitar tech, who at the time was Sammy Sanchez, good friend of mine. And I said, sure, but I don't know if I'm a guitar tech. But he said, oh, you'll be fine. I just need someone who can do the basic setup like you do, change my strings and so on. And I said, I can do that. So I started doing that, and Sammy got another gig. And so Larry asked me if I just wanted to be his tech. So I said, sure.
Yeah.
And I was good enough to do it, but I've learned a lot since then. So that was basically how I went from teaching to being a guitar tech.
Who are some of the artists you have worked with?
There's a long list of them, but I'll try my best to remember many of them. Of course, Larry Carlton, Robben Ford, Michael Landau, some great jazz musicians like Omar Hakim and Daryl Jones and Joey DeFrancesco, Steve Lukather, of course. There's a long list of fine musicians, and Brent Mason, of course, is one of those. Paul Franklin, great pedal steel player. Sam Bush is a guy I've been working with lately who's a fine mandolin player. The list is kind of long, but those are a few of my favorites.
Wow. So are you any artist you particularly like working with?
Certainly. Of course, in the last maybe 10 years or so, I've worked extensively with Robben Ford and Larry Carlton and Michael Landau. And I really love working for those guys, not only because they're great musicians, but they're also my friends. And I always tell them they can fire me as their guitar tech. They just can't fire me as their friend. But I learned something from all of them because each of them have special requirements that make their guitar playing better. And so I learn from each of them. And lately, again, Sam Bush has been just a wonderful influence. His music is amazing. That's just a few.
Yeah, just few. So many
There are.
top artists.
Yes.
you work
Very
with.
fortunate. Yes.
Yeah.